Hello, I'm Riker Hopkins, and this is my cinematic science final project. So I did my project on Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. And after the events of the previous movie, what's left of the crew of the USS Enterprise are living in exile on Vulcan, because they did some pretty bad stuff against Starfleet Command in the previous movie. So they receive a planetary distress call from Earth and immediately jump back into action. There's a mysterious alien probe that is threatening Earth by evaporating the oceans and destroying the atmosphere. So they discover that the sounds that these probe are making are actually the songs of the humpback whale, which have been hunted to extinction. They haven't been around since the 21st century. So they only have one choice. They have to attempt to time travel back into the 20th century where they're still around, locate some humpback whales, and bring them back to the 23rd century and allow them to respond to this probe. So, what's wrong with this movie, scientifically speaking? It's like, is it the time travel? Is it the matter-antimatter engines? What is it? It's actually transporting the whales. So you see, this is the ship that they use, the HMS Bounty, and you can see it's not very big. It's a pretty small ship. This is a humpback whale compared to a human. And so you can see here that the ship isn't very big. And so my hypothesis is that there's no way the HMS Bounty would be able to carry the two adult humpback whales as well as the water to support them, because that's what they end up doing in the movie. So let's do some quick Googling, alright? Let's see. So how big is a humpback whale? Okay, 60 feet. Maximum a humpback whale can get up to 60 feet. Alright. Let's see. How big is the ship? The ship in the movie is 12.5 inches long. Well, that can't be. There's people in there. That must be like the model they used, because it was the 80s. They used models still. Let's see. So we need to find something more specific. This doesn't help. It could be anywhere between 50 and 700 meters long. That's a very big difference. So, well, we could go based off of the most commonly seen bird of prey, and that would be the 110 meter version. That's what a bunch of people say. It must be 110 meters. But we have a point of reference in this movie, so we can determine how big this ship really is. And it's not from these models, because these models don't include any measurements, unfortunately. But this scene, with the people walking down the staircase, this must be it. This must be how we find out the size of the ship. Because one of the people walking down that staircase is Admiral Kirk, played by William Shatner. And at the time of filming, he is about 5'10". So we can use him as a point of reference. So we just line them up and then see how many William Shatners is this ship. So we'll line them up. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Alright, so it's about 28 William Shatners long, 5'10", and then accounting for the angle, because it's not perfectly parallel with the camera angle, and it's 1.778 meters per Shatner. That's about 49.784 meters. And if we go back to this model that we have, 49.784 meters, it lines up basically perfectly with the smallest version, the 50-meter version. So we can determine that this ship is most probably the 50-meter version. And so that means we can determine how big the cargo space is. Because here we can just, in the dorsal view, just multiply this, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so about 5 cargo bays to fill up the entire 50-meter version of the ship, which means that the cargo bay on this ship is about 10 meters. And then the other way, we can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so 6 cargo bays wide. That's about 60 meters wide. So we can determine that the whales fit because the cargo bay is 10 by 23 by 10 meters tall. You can see in the port view, and the whales, they are about 15.24 meters long, 2.62128 meters tall, and 5.5 meters wide. The whales fit. Both of the whales, they can fit in this cargo container of the ship. This tiny little ship can hold 2 adult humpback whales. This can't be. The water. Okay, the water. So, in the movie, the chief engineer says, but I've never beamed up 400 tons before. It's not just the whales, it's the water. So, the whales are about 45,000 pounds each, according to the actual movie, which is about equal to 40 metric tons for both of them. That leaves 360 metric tons of water that they have to beam up, which is about 360 cubic meters, because the density of water in the metric system are super easy. And if we take the volume of the cargo container, it's about 2,300 cubic meter tank. So, all the water fits too, with plenty of room for air for these whales to breathe during the entire trip. So, that works. All right, what about the water pressure? All the pressure of all this stuff. Well, in the movie, he asks how thick of a plexiglass would it need to withstand the pressure of about 18,000 cubic feet of water, and they say 6 inches. So that's the exact thing that they use in stock. And so 18,000 cubic feet, is that enough water? It's 509.70324 cubic meters. And since they use about 360 metric tons of water, or about 360 cubic meters of water, plus the volume of the whales, it's plenty thick. The glass is plenty thick. It can hold the whales, it can hold the water, it won't break, it won't crack. But maybe they don't have enough water to hold these things. So the 360 cubic meters of water, it'll fill up the tank to about 1.56 whatever meters tall. And we know that the whales are a lot taller than that. They are like 2.6 meters tall. And so that means they don't have enough water, right? But wait, there's water displacement. When the whales are submerged in the water goes up. So, water displacement, we can determine that by the volume of the whales, and the volume we can determine by mass over density, and those whales weigh 45,000 pounds each, as determined before, which is about 20,411.657 kilograms, and the density of a humpback whale, which thank God I found, is about 1,031.6 plus or minus 2.1 kilograms per meter squared. So that means the volume of a whale is just about 20 cubic meters. And that means about 40 cubic meters for both of the whales. And then plus the 360 cubic meters of water, the water will be displaced by only 0.17 meters, meaning the water depth, if they are completely submerged, is 1.73 odd meters. And the whales are still 2.62128 meters tall, meaning the water doesn't completely submerge these whales, which means that the whales die. The amount of water they beam up is not enough to fully submerge the 2 humpback whales. This means that the whales will dry out during the ship and they cannot live. I win. Screw you, William Shatner. Screw your best guesses. Spock actually... Wait, no. Spock is great. He did his best. But the whales die. I win. My hypothesis may not have been correct in the way I thought. The whales can fit in the ship. They actually have plenty of room. So much room that the water doesn't fill up all the way. The whales die because they dry out. There's not enough water. That's why we're excited. I did it. The whales die.